Hey mama, are you a multi-passionate mom who is juggling all the things, nursing a baby, battling laundry, trying to keep it together and keep a spicy marriage, and feeling like you're feeling all of it? What's up? I'm Ashley Carroll. I'm here to hold your hand through this process because I believe when you're ready to take control of your life, beat the limiting excuses, step into your own power, you can not only survive, but you can thrive. But you're gonna have to show up for yourself. It's time for me to tough love your way through prioritization, taking self-care seriously, getting rid of excuses, reconnecting with your family, kids, and spouse, and quite honestly, learning to love the chaos because the glory is in the journey. It's in the mess. In this podcast, you will find balance for busy mamas, navigating mom guilt, time management strategies, and everything in between with no fluff and lots of fun. Let's go. Hey guys, it is day 4 of the Love Languages Challenge. I am so excited that you guys have tuned in and hung out with me and stuck with me so far. I feel like there has to be good fruits that you're seeing if you're putting in the work. If you're not doing anything with all this information, if you're just sitting on it or you're just doing the work alone, you're not going to reap the benefits because it takes two to make a thing go right? I feel like all of my things have to do with songs. I'm going to log into Facebook on my computer. I should have already done that, but as you guys know, I'm always late. I'm always behind, but it's cool. So say hi, shout out, let me know. I want to see if you guys are trying these things, what you've thought about them, what your husbands think about them, because if you're just doing it, like, that's okay, and that's going to benefit some, right? But if you're both doing it, oh my gosh, like, the transformation that can happen from that is insane. So, hey, Steph. So today I want to talk about hard questions. Yesterday we talked about sex, which was fun, and a lot of you guys could relate, and I went a little off the cuff, which is totally, you're not surprised. And so we talked about sex, we talked about intimacy today, and we touched on like what I keep referring to as transition triggers. I want to dive into that with you guys. I want to come up with a transition trigger for you, and then also ask you some hard questions that I want you to think about, whether or not you give me your answers right now or what have you. So first off, we talked about sex, and we talked about having this season of like littles all over you, not really wanting to engage in intimacy and feeling like maybe we're reading or misconnecting signals because he wants, a little something, and you're exhausted, people are touching you, you're done, right? We talked about transition triggers. I told you mine, which was when the kids are down, my husband knows I want 2 things. I want tea and I want a snack and I want to get in bed, right? I want to relax, I want to unwind. He wants the same thing, he does it in a different way. So he knows, hey, now is the time to go make her tea. I'll bring it to her in bed, and this is like signifying we're it's like flipping a switch, but for my brain, because if there's nothing there, it's like a continuous day, and we can't differentiate, and we can't forget about, the snot that we were covered with 5 minutes ago. We can't get out of our heads about the laundry and the to-do list and yada yada yada. You got to protect your space, which means that you're not scrolling. You're not taking work to bed unless you have to, or unless it's on a non-scheduled sex day. And you're, actually, like, I'll catch myself on my phone, just like scrolling. He's on his phone, scrolling next to me, and we're disconnected. Like, this is, this is such an insane time that we live in right now, where we are so hyper connected virtually, but we're so disconnected personally. That's why, hey, Angel, that is why we are struggling so much, right? Like, how many of you plug your phone in next to your bed? Raise your hand, say I, that's me. Hashtag live if you're watching this live. Dang it, y'all. Always have to clip in. The challenges of nursing a baby. So how many of you take your phone to your bed, and then like 15 minutes will go by, and you'll realize that you're both sitting next to each other scrolling? Haven't said a word, haven't engaged in conversation, haven't engaged in any sort of physical touch, whether it's just hand holding, you're sitting close to each other. You haven't even like, isn't that crazy? It's so crazy. And it's so hard for us because we feel like we're going to miss out. And also, if you're like me, I like to mindlessly scroll at the end of the day because it's my way of just, it's like binge watching TV at the end of the day. It's like something mindless. Nobody needs anything from me. Nobody wants anything from me. Except with social media, we're engaging with these people who aren't in our marriages. So you're commenting and replying to somebody's family photo, somebody's engagement picture, somebody's anniversary, this and that and the other, while your husband is sitting right next to you. You are pouring into somebody else's life while yours is just stagnant in the same room, unacknowledged, unappreciated, unseen, unheard, and going untouched. Isn't that crazy? I feel like that's so crazy. And it's hard because we want to be connected to our friends. We want to see what people are doing. And like I said, it's easy to disconnect that way because it's just mindless scrolling. And it helps us to just relax, right? I think that that's okay. But if you can control it, and most of us can't because that's not how the apps are made. If you've seen all the new Netflix documentaries, that is what's going down. You know it's true. There's actual facts behind the fact that they are trying to addict you to your phone. That's fine. Like, I guess being socially connected is the world that we live in. At the same time, you only have this one marriage, right? Like, you only have this one marriage. Why do you want it to be a stagnant one? Or why do you want it to be one that's like, meh? Because the chances of it surviving, we already know, are very low. Now, if you put in the work, your chances get even higher and higher and higher, right? If you ignore it, your chances are super, super low. So I want to talk to you about some hard questions, and I want you to think about these to yourself as you're driving your car, you're watching this live. What can I do to make our bedroom a safe space? Okay, what can I do? Maybe it's taking the TV out. Maybe it's making sure your phone isn't plugged in at, by your bedside right when you sit down. So like for me, if my phone is on the other side of the room at the beginning of the night, I won't reach for it. I'll engage with my husband. I'll ask him about his day. We'll talk and this, that, and the other. And these are ideas that I also want to implement moving forward for myself, not just telling you guys this is how it should be. Like, I'm human too. Putting it on the other side of the room because I won't get up and go get it. Like, we're lazy, okay? So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about some hard questions and making transition triggers. But yeah, putting your phone across the room and then, do a little hanky-panky, what have you, connect, have a conversation, even if it isn't hanky-panky, okay? Just connect, have conversation, and then you can go get your phone, okay? And then you can do the mindless scrolling. But the important thing is to connect with the person next to you versus worrying about connecting with the people who are virtually across the world from you in another house. Like, this is our marriage, right? Like, this is our marriages. What do you want from that? What do you see happening if you don't do anything with what you've been learning? Or if you don't do something about the feelings that you're having? Like, how do you think that's going to go for you? What do you think the end result is going to be? Another hard question I want to ask you guys is, like, have you talked about what could help you enjoy sex? Have you talked to your husbands about what you could do that would help him enjoy sex? Y'all, I told you these are going to be some hard questions. And what you don't like, right? What he doesn't like. Having the conversation of what needs to be done so you can be intimate, right? Is there a habit of holding control that limits his ability to step in? We talked about, like, days ago about him letting him do the dishwasher, right? When we say no or we step in, it's a form of rejection. We feel it all the time, right? And then we're quick to call him out on it. You didn't say goodbye to me. Like, you said goodbye to me in this, like, weird way. I just feel like, when they leave in the morning or whatever. Same thing. It goes both ways. I think sometimes we forget, and that's normal. But then to be aware of it and then make a change. But if you're holding limits, like you're saying, you step in when he's trying to take care of the kids, or you're constantly rejecting him in bed, then he's going to stop. He's going to stop pursuing you. And then it's going to overflow into other areas, right? Like it may be just that you're rejecting in one area, and then now he's just completely backing out of all areas, because what if he feels that rejection in all these other places too? That sucks. I don't want to feel like that. I know sometimes when I like put myself out there and I feel like it's ill received, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. That sucks. That was embarrassing. That was awkward. That was awful. Like, does he love me? Like you just, does that person like me? What, like you just go into your head. We all do that. It's a human thing. Are you avoiding hard questions because you're afraid of the honest answers? So ask yourself, like, maybe why is it that I haven't taken this stuff to my husband? Why am I watching all these videos? Why am I engaging in this love language challenge, but I don't want to involve my spouse? Are you afraid that it's going to bring up things that you just don't have time for? Or conversations that are hard and emotional and bring up old baggage? Y'all got to let that baggage go. Your past is interfering with your future, and it's going to be brutal. It's going to be devastating. If you don't bring those hard conversations up now, they're going to come up sooner or later, y'all. It's just a matter of, is it going to be when your foundation is solid and it can withstand? Or are you going to be going through this and having these hard conversations when your foundation has been riddled with termites and it's brittle and it's almost crumbling to where like you just can't withstand? Okay, like that's hard, but I want you guys to think about that. And then I'm gonna check the comments, see what y'all gotta do the work. What do you want from your marriage? What do you want your kids to see from your marriage? I know I didn't see a good example of a marriage when I was growing up. And so now I'm very hyper aware of, man, my kids, this is going to teach them what to expect out of a marriage. Like, which again, we talked about expectations and desires the other day, but also like how to navigate through that, where to set the bar, right? Like how successful their marriage is, showing them, hey, it takes work to have a successful marriage. If you want a marriage like mommy and daddy where we make it, but we're not only just making it, we're not only surviving, but we're thriving, we're playing, we're having fun, we're loving each other well, we're, if you, that is common. Okay, so somebody just said, I think when I bring up Steph, he thinks I'm saying he's failing. Under stress. Okay. So I was talking to my husband about this the other day, and he was actually like, I was saying, how do women approach men without thinking that they're failing? And he said, I think it's just a matter of like, what is the alternative? So, like if you don't at all, like, then nothing can change. And then also when you have a safe space of like, hey, like, can we talk about this? Like, it's nothing to do with you. Like, we're not failing. I just want to invest and grow our marriage. Like, you're not failing. I'm not failing. Nobody's wrong. Let's just talk about this. Like, here are some changes I want to make. Which is another reason why I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to see my husband and I do a live in here together where you guys can ask him questions and see his perspective, and I can ask him questions and you guys can see. Let me know if you want that to happen. I can make it happen. But asking yourself those hard questions. If you're just now watching, just now listening, rewind. You got to go back to the beginning because I'm asking you some hard questions that I want you to think about and chew over to see how you feel, where you're at, why you're doing the things that you're doing, maybe why you're not doing the things that you're doing. I think that a lot of the times, just like me or, any of us, when we feel like we are being attacked or we are, being told that we're failing, or we feel like that, our wall goes up. But there's a reason behind that, right? Like, usually it's because we know it's true. Usually, like, honestly, it's because we know it's true. It's triggering. But once we have the conversation, especially with the way that your spouse can approach you of like, hey, like, I'm your friend, we're a team. That's how we used to always have to do that. I'll tell you this, it makes you feel ridiculous. My husband always used to make me do this, and I hated it, but it works. I'll tell you I hate it. He's going to love that I'm saying that. He's going to listen to this recording and be like, ha. But anyways, we would sit down. He would hold my hands. It feels really juvenile, really like, are we really doing this? Yes, we did. We would hold hands. We'd remind each other that we are for each other, that we are a team, right? That if one of us loses, we're both losing. If we're winning, like if one of us is winning, we're losing, right? Because usually if one's winning, then the other person is losing, and that sucks. We're a team. We work together. We're either both winning or we're both losing, and we want to win together. So we'd hold hands, remind each other that we're teammates, have conversation of like, hey, these are just the things that I'm seeing. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I know this is an awkward conversation. I know you don't like heavy conversations, but what is the result if we don't? I feel like, never say you do this, that, and the other. I feel like there's a miscommunication. I feel like we aren't sure of each other's love languages and maybe we're missing the spot. I feel like you do an amazing job at loving me, but I would love to do this exercise because what if we could do more, right? Or like, do you feel like we're disconnected? Or is it, like, just make it a safe conversation, and usually it can go well. There is no alternative. I don't know how to stress that enough that, like, we have to do the hard work. We have to do the awkward conversations. We have to work through it. We have to see, talk to them about, hey, even ask, hey, why is this conversation so hard for you? How can I make it an easier conversation? What is it that I say or how I approach you making this difficult? And then, go from there. Transition routines. I think I started and I got off topic. You got to I want you guys to come up with something that reminds you that you're you. And I want to say that we have to start pouring into ourselves. I started rollerblading again, like with the stroller. We go to the park, my little man and I just rollerblade through the park like like a weirdo. All I need is my fanny pack and I'll be set, right? But it's something that I love. Like, it has no purpose. It's probably a waste of my time. I'm not going to join the roller derby, whatever. I don't really know, like, if I'm any good at it. I'm just doing it to have fun, to connect with myself, to give back to myself, to pour into myself. So that way my overflow automatically happens and benefits the people around me, including my spouse. When we feel good about ourselves, we can show up a lot better to our marriages and our other relationships. My little guy's awake, but he's not crying, so I'm gonna leave him there. He's talking to himself. Okay. Create a transition routine. So I want you to pour into yourself, find little nuggets in the day, whether it's a walk around the block, listening to a podcast, rollerblading, meeting with a friend for 5 minutes. Like, it doesn't have to be these long things. Find something that you can do to pour into yourself. Create a transition routine, a transition trigger for nighttime. You put the kids to bed. What are you going to do that makes you happy, that makes you like giddy to get in bed, to relax, to decompress? Is it chocolate? Is it tea? Is it a glass of wine? Is it reading a book? And get your husband in on that. Hey, like, if you help me reset at the end of the night, then I can engage with you better. What can I do to help you reset and engage with me better? And then figure out what those transition triggers is, make something up. I want you guys to be doing this exercise. I want to see what you guys are doing, how the conversations are going. Like, let's talk about it in the Facebook group. Let's navigate through it, because a lot of the times putting it out there gets it out of our head. We can problem solve with other people. You don't need to bash each other in the group. You just need to say, like, hey, I approached him, but his response was this, that, and the other. Like, or I'm afraid to approach him. How do I navigate this, that, and the other? I'm happy to get in there and like talk to you guys about it. We can also talk about it with each other because we've all been there. We're all trying to better our marriages. We want a fulfilling, thriving marriage, not just the one that's barely surviving. And so I think we can just say like, hey, like, this is what I did, this is how I approached him. And then we can kind of learn from each other, take the nuggets that we need and continue on. Okay. So, and then date nights. Date nights are an absolute have to happen. When I realized that my marriage wasn't where I wanted it to be, and my husband did too, he knew it, we started making date nights like a non-negotiable on the calendar, had a babysitter planned, certain day of every month. This was because we did it, I think it was every Saturday for like a few months until we felt like we were in a good place. And then we started to taper off. But it's just like therapy, or like if you go to the chiropractor or the doctor, like something happens and like for the first few weeks, you're getting better. It's like you see the person more frequently, and then as you get better, you can kind of taper off. Same with your marriage. So we would go on these date nights. I would take questions with me. Like literally I would look up Pinterest questions of like conversation starters with your spouse, put them in my notes in my phone. And then like during dinner, I would like pull it up. Y'all, having your phones out any other time during a date night is a non-negotiable. Do not do it. You will look around when you go to a restaurant, see couples, and you'll see two couples at a table glued to their phones, not connecting with each other. Guess where they're going to be in 5 years? I guarantee you. It's hard truth, but it's the truth. So pull out your phone to look at your question, put it back. It's like silly questions. And there's so many good ones, right? On Pinterest of questions to take on your date with your husband. They're so good and they're so fun. Sometimes it's like silly ones that you didn't even know that they would come up with some answer that you didn't even expect. And it's just so fun. It's awkward at first to start dating again. It is. You're like, you feel like you want to talk about your kids, but maybe you shouldn't. You also like aren't sure how to be like, so what are you doing? Like you don't know what to say. It's totally fine. Let me get my kiddo. I'm going to be right back. I'm coming. Y'all, this is my littlest guy. Say hi, buddy. Say hi. He's teething, so that's the life that we're in right now. But in seasons of feeling overwhelmed and disconnected, like you have to date night. It's so important. You can do it after your kids go to bed if you don't have a sitter. You could do it like sometimes he even comes along because I only have certain in-laws that can watch him. My mother had a stroke, and so her whole side of her left body doesn't work, so she can't pick him up. She can't chase him around, so I can't leave her with him yet. And so we leave the oldest two with her when she's watching. We take him with us. And sometimes I make sure it's like at nighttime, so I know he's going to fall asleep in the stroller, and we go for a walk. Like we'll have dinner with him, and maybe it's kind of stressful, maybe not. Usually I try to pick something that I know is going to work over well with him. And then we'll put him in the stroller and we'll take a walk around like some trail somewhere. So we know that he's going to be occupied and he's going to fall asleep probably. And then we can still connect in a way. Okay. So you can date night at home when the kids go to bed, pizza, snacks, movie, no phones. Why even? Or you could date night, finding somebody to watch your kiddos. It is worth the investment. I see everybody say, oh, well, it's so expensive. I can't afford it. I can't find somebody. We don't have any family. Y'all, if there's a will, there's a way. You've figured out a way to do plenty of other things with your kiddos around. You figured other ways to afford freaking expensive cell phones. Like how expensive are those? New shoes, new whatever. Why can't we invest in our marriages? Why can't we prioritize that? Because if we don't, like I said, another hard question, where's your marriage going to be? Like you see so many people say that they've fallen out of love. No, they haven't invested in the connection. They just stopped showing up. Love is not a feeling, it's an action. If you're not showing up for the other person, What do you think is going to happen? That's how roommates happen. Lovers that become roommates. No longer friends. They're just parallel, going in and out the door, parallel lives. Okay? There has to be a way. Like I said, if you can't afford it, if you have so many kids, like babysitting costs are expensive, plus you had dinner. Like sometimes we would get a babysitter, pack our lunch, go to the park, sit down, like take a free lunch with us. That's no big. It's not about what you eat, what you do. It's about connecting with each other. You can go out into the driveway, sit in the car, bring a root beer float. Kids are inside watching a movie. You're like, hey kids, we're gonna go sit in the car together. Connect, listen to some old fun songs in the car. Make sure to not drain your battery, right? But there's so many creative ways to do date nights that's affordable, that's free, that you can do while your kids are at home. Just do it, okay? Here is your homework tonight, is to create a consistent date night and to come up with a transition trigger for yourself every night that will help you transition from mom mode to wife or me mode, okay? And then talk about day nights with your spouse. What do you think about this? How can we make this happen? Would you like to do that? Alternate things that they want to do too. Hey, I'll go to the shooting range with you this week. I'll pick the date night this week. I'll plan it this week. You plan it that week. Or maybe you have one that just enjoys you planning it and them showing up, right? Like, who knows? Make that a priority. That's all I have for you guys today. Tomorrow is the last day. Like I said, you guys, I'm super excited about the marriage series workshop coming up. We're going to go into this so deep, you guys. And you guys, like, if you want to do the hard work and you're ready and you're like, yes, my marriage needs this. My marriage needs this. I want this. It's the time. The time is now. There isn't another. I want you to pray about it. Think about if this is the right thing for you. If you feel like I'm the right person to walk you through that, if I'm not, like, I hope this was helpful for you in and of itself. Like, honestly, all the days that I've done with you guys so far, I feel like if you take and utilize yourself, like, you don't need me. There's no reason to have me. Because if you do those things, you're bound to see something happen and transform, even if it's one of those little nuggets. And so think about that. The workshop is going to be amazing. It's going to be live. So it's going to be me and you, the small group of women who are feeling the same way that you are. And we're going to talk about these things. I want to like dig in deep with you guys in the muddy water. Like, there is no such thing as like shame or too embarrassing or blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like, we're talking about our marriages. We're talking about our commitment that we've made, that we want to last for life. The commitment to this person that was our best friend, that we feel passionately about, that somehow we just like let the things pile on and we forgot about it. Like, it went to the back burner and it's there, and I want it to be revived. I want you to feel like you're seen, you're heard, you're appreciated, and I want you to feel the fruitfulness of it, the fulfillment of it, and like all these things. I just want that for you guys so bad. So I hope that comes across well. I hope you can see that in the past days that I've been teaching you guys. I'm working through this daily too, y'all. My husband's love language is not my own. I don't want you to think that I come up here and I'm like, I know all the things. No, like, I've learned this the hard way by going through the muddy water, having the awkward conversations. Like I said, I still take questions to date night. The group, the couples goals worksheet or workbook that I sent you guys, we take that with us at least once a year. I 1 year printed it out. Now I have it on my phone, thanks to, digital stuff. Less embarrassing. But literally, we would be at a restaurant, I'd unfold like all these papers with my pencil. So what do you want to do? And, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Let's drink together. Like, what does this look like? Y'all, we used to shut the restaurants down. It's so interesting when you talk about these things and when you listen and you just ask the silly questions, because sometimes you just don't know. And sometimes it throws them off and they're like, what? And especially if you listen with no judgment, it's just amazing. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I have no idea what my little guy's doing over there. But do the homework. Go back if you haven't listened to the other days. Redo the homework. Take in what I'm telling you, what I'm sharing with you. Let's work through this together, guys. I want you to have a partner in life that is your best friend and that you constantly are grateful for, and they're grateful for you, and your love tanks are being filled. I want that for you. So that is all I have for you today. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Do your homework. You ain't going to see nothing from this. without putting in the work to get the results. Hope you guys have an awesome Thursday.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed day 2 of the Couples Love Language Challenge. If you're doing the homework and you're applying some of the things that we're learning, even one thing a day, and you're using it in your marriage, you're gonna see some changes. You're gonna see some good transformation. I'm so excited. I want you to hop into the So She Grows Mom community, share those wins with you, share the struggles with, the things that I'm asking you to do. Also, have some conversation with me. Maybe there's some things that I said that don't sit right with you, and I want to talk about it because sometimes I'm trying to get all this information out and it comes out the wrong way, or I didn't give enough context, and we need to, it's not like we're sitting down one-on-one. It's hard to have these deep, connecting conversations via the podcast sometimes because there's nuances that we can do back and forth that we can't do over, you listening to your earpods. But what I was talking about just now as this, recording ended was, if you're ready to transform your marriage from the inside out, partner with God to grow as a wife and experience fulfillment in your marriage, fruitfulness in your marriage. If you can hear all that crinkling, that is my toddler. But So She Grows Marriage Series Transformation Workshop is for you. 30-day group coaching experience with me and other mamas who want to do the same thing for their marriages. We're all in the same place. It's going to be a super safe place. This is a 30-day workshop, one time only, limited registration available. It's one time only because if it goes well, and I know it is because we all need this. This is an area that I feel like we just really want to thrive in and we don't know how. I want to show up for you guys live so we can have those conversations, that back and forth. And so we're going to walk through the 4 C's of marriage transformation: compromise, communication, connection, and cultivation, which is, if your marriage is bearing fruit or not. Is it thriving or not? I want you to experience the fruitfulness and the favor that God has in store for your marriage. I feel like that is what it's supposed to be like. If you're tired of feeling unseen, unheard, and unappreciated, this workshop will be for you. And if you're ready to do the work, show up, and deepen your marriage in a new, fun, and exciting way, I'm so here for it. I will be sharing more with you guys throughout this week as we go on, a little bit more about it each day. And then on Friday, I'll let you know how you can get in on it, right? How we can start to really deepen our marriages and bear fruit. So that is today. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Please apply these things that we're learning. Get in the Facebook group. Talk to me about the stuff that you're going through. Let's come together as a community. You have the support. We are here. Take advantage of it, okay? All right, guys, have an awesome day.